Let's do this thing. Sadiya. So today I am joined here by Sadiya, an emerging innovator in Nigeria, who is the founder and lead innovator at Aurex, which is an AI-driven startup. Aurex specializes in designing front-end AI systems, visual intelligence platforms, and offline capable smart technologies that empower businesses, developers, and communities across Africa and beyond. Sadiya believes, and I love this, in driving progress without funding and without excuses. And I really wanted to highlight that one because for me personally, that line when I read that on your bio, Sadiya, really hit home because I love that scrappy, bootstrapping, entrepreneurial mindset of like, I don't care how we get it done, we just got to get it done. And for everybody who's watching, I do have Sadia here on audio. Unfortunately, we were having some connection issues, so video wasn't quite working, but I do have Sadia here today. And I want to kick this off by saying, Sadia, I mean, you seem like a very intelligent person. You seem like an action taker. You got a clear vision of what you're trying to build and who you're trying to help. And instead of just sitting around making excuses like most people do, it seems like you get stuff done. And I'm very curious to know your backstory. Like, how did you get here, and why are you built differently from other people?
My name is Garba Sadiya Aliyu,
Sorry,
Nigeria
would you
actually.
like to say that one more time, just a little bit slower?
My name is Garba Sadiya Aliyu, a young innovator from northern Nigeria, Niger State to be particular. They Aurex started when I was 16, my SS1 in Nigeria.
When
Yeah,
you were
I
16,
noticed we have,
and
yes,
and sorry, do you
I'm
mind
18.
if I ask? You're 18. Okay, so you are
I'm
the
currently
definition
18, so
of a young innovator. You started early. Okay.
so in Nigeria particularly, northern Nigeria actually, you notice we have access to we have limited access to the internet, limited access to innovative resources, and this was like a backlash to us because in any competition, like any technical competition, northern Nigeria, we have to come back, and we don't get to go there because we don't have the resources to go there. And it was how do I put it? It was painful though because I know like people from northern Nigeria are very intelligent, and we know how to operate in lean resources because that's how we are built. The life here, we we learn to use the minimal resources to build the most capable solutions. For me, building Aurex was just like an idea, my innovation lab at that time. I just wanted to build a solution where everybody from northern Nigeria at that time should be included to carry along my people to know to be where other people think we can't get to. And at that time, I had no resources, no access to internet, no money. So I had to like use the minimal resources. For example, our first product, which was Eon, an offline conversational AI, is built totally with no funding. We use
No, no funding.
engineering, and it was built alone. The whole RS system is based on, I don't know if I'm answering your question though.
Yeah, no, this is great. Keep going.
Okay. The whole architecture is built on from low to no funding at all. So all of our solutions are built based on already available resources, and it is accessible to all Africans without them having to pay and without them having to rely on the internet.
Right. And I feel like again and I do want to come back to that piece about, the internet and being offline, right? Again, just, with internet connections either being limited or non-existent. But I'm curious actually just to, you know, for those of us who don't know what it's like to grow up in northern Nigeria, Can you just give us a sense of what that's like growing up in that environment? What are the kinds of, challenges, adversity, like things that you've had to overcome to develop? And again, I'm really getting the sense from you, this sense of resourcefulness of having very limited resources, but being like, okay, I can do this, and like being very strategic to be like, okay, I can pull this and I can pull this and we can make this work. Can you just give us a sense of again what life is like growing up in northern Nigeria?
First, it's one, we don't even have access to constant electricity. So having what's it called? A phone alone is a luxury. So and having an internet connection is another luxury on its own. Get things done here at the time. It's not as the Western nation. Around there, we don't have access to most of these advanced technologies. The technology are either amateur or just beginner levels to none at all. So
Okay.
growing up in a community where you don't have access to constant electricity, no access to internet connection, it just feels like you are being left behind because there are things other communities like in southern Nigeria, for example, most of them have access to is internet and connectivity. They don't actually have connectivity issues like here in northern Nigeria.
Okay, so like somewhere
So
more like Lagos, for example, right? The electricity is a little more stable, the internet's a little more stable. Now I'm
stable.
curious. I'm curious when you say that, the electricity is not stable, what does that look like? Does that mean like you regularly have long periods of time where there's no electricity or it'll go out for a few minutes? Like what does that look
No,
like?
we can go 5 days without electricity.
Did you say 5 days?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I can see how that would be very problematic.
Yeah.
And how
And
would it work? I'm curious, like if there's a hospital, like do they have backup generators or there's just no electricity for several days? How does that work?
federal hospitals do have backup generators, but for most private hospitals, they don't have such. And here we depend more on traditional medicine compared to the
Hmm.
Western medicine because it does not require electricity to treat an illness when you are treating the ancient way.
Right. Right.
So
Again, talking about being resourceful and using the techniques that work for you. Okay. So you've had to overcome, no electricity, no internet, no funding, challenging infrastructure. Where does that feeling inside of you, that feeling of like, I will win no matter what. Like I will overcome this, no matter how challenging this is. I'm gonna overcome this and I'm gonna find a way. Where does that come from?
I think it's just from inner grind. Every day you wake up and this is a problem. They said when you understand the problem, you already know the solution. So every day I know we wake up to this problem. One of our biggest problem is not having internet connection. So I look at it and we are we already lose a lot to that, and it will be a pain if nobody consider treating that problem. So my
Right.
grind came from I have to solve this no matter what it takes.
Right. So how do you, again, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this because for me in my world, like if the internet goes out, like that's it, everything's done. I can't do everything because everything I do is on a computer, on the internet, it's online, it's having Zoom calls, right? And so how do you, I guess, push through that and make that work? Like, how do you build a product, right? You've got Aurex, right, which I want to talk more about. Build that if the electricity's out, the internet's out. Like, how do you make that work? I'm genuinely curious.
Okay, fine. We don't have access to internet. That is good. But coding does not require internet to an extent. We can use no coding tools to build. We can use like a code editor which is called web code. That editor does not need internet connection to run. And for the electricity, sometimes we have access to solar panels where we use them to charge our phones. So generally, my first prototype of the first product for Aurex was built totally on my phone. And at that time, I only have my phone and a web code. I think that's all. And the web code editor where I don't need the internet to connect or when I want to code.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Cool. So what then? So what inspired you to start your business?
My people to feel among. That's just it. I want to serve my people. I don't want them to feel left behind. That is where the inspiration comes from. Because when you look at the metrics, you see a lot of southerners. Sometimes we something northern like the people do not do this, they don't do that, they can't do this, and it's much more like an insult to our being because we know if we have the resources they have, we can do better than they did. So
Right.
the only inspiration come from let my people among. That's just it.
Right. So it's like, okay, we've got the intelligence, we've got the strength, we've got the creativity, we have the ability to do this. Like we all of that is inside of us. We can do it. Just, get out of our way, give us the tools that we need and let us show you what we can do.
Yes.
Garba, I do have to say again, you're inspiring me again, just the way that you're talking about this. If I'm being very honest, I still can't believe that you're just 18. You seem like a very, again, very mature person. It seems like you have a lot of wisdom, like the clarity of your vision. So I'm genuinely impressed having this conversation with you today. What would you say? Well, let's talk about okay, let's talk about Oryx. And where did, I guess, first of all, where did the idea come from?
Operating offline systems of Aurex.
Yeah.
I think I can't really say because the idea came from, when there is a lot of pressure you put on yourself that you just want to do this and you have to do it.
Hmm.
When you just put yourself like I am the only plan and I have no backup plan. I have no backup plan. So if I fail, I failed all of us. So to me it was just like I felt like I was carrying the weight of us and I just have to do it. Even though I know it's going to be.
That's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Nigeria is a big country. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah. And most of us are from the north because we have 19 northern states plus the FCT, making 20. Most of the population of Nigeria is from northern Nigeria, and we don't have the resources.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So again, this is your opportunity to prove, we from the north, like we can do this better. We can do this better than you.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you been doing to grow your business, to spread the word, to get customers? Like what has that been looking like for you?
The adoption is a bit hard, not there in northern Nigeria, but I think one thing I think if I've been I've been talking to people from Youth Value Foundation from like DEI and other foundations like such, but I think they are afraid to adopt the new technology because they don't actually know its abilities. And it's been
Okay.
a kind of hard having people to adopt the solutions.
Okay. Well, let's break that down into two pieces. So first of all, if we're just talking about like marketing, right? So like, okay, you're the founder, you built this business, this startup. Okay, it exists. Now people need to know about it. So what have you been doing to spread the word? Like, have you been connecting with people on LinkedIn? It sounds like you've been going to like events, organizations. Like, how are you spreading the word right now so that people find out about Oryx?
I think I've just been talking to student groups because I think they need it most.
So would that be like at school? And actually, I forgot to ask, like, are you in school right now or are you doing this full time? Okay. Okay. Again, very impressive that you're again just building this. A lot of people think, oh, you need an advanced university degree if you want to build a software product. You need to be a software engineer with 7 years of whatever it is, right? And you're just like, nah, I did high school. I can do this. What's the problem? Okay, so you've got various student groups, so you're going and like you're giving like Are you giving presentations, demos? Like, just run us through how that works.
Yeah, I do give presentations and demos, and also like free pro access to some students too. Like for example, one of our chatbot was adopted, but we haven't put it in action by the Niger food. Do you know Niger government
What was
well,
that? I heard Nigerian government.
not under
Okay.
Nigeria. So I'm in Niger, from Niger, and our governor, former governor, somebody who empowers you. So I talked to him, and our AI, one of our AI, which is AgriPal, which is like an agricultural support chatbot, was adopted by him to help in the government farm, something like that.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say I know a little bit, a little teeny tiny bit of uh Nigerian, let's say, geography. Very basic, right? Again, I know Lagos in the south. You've got Abuja in the middle of the country. I did just to share a little bit of my own story here. A few years ago, I was involved in a startup for a mobile app, which was a anti-kidnapping app designed specifically for the Nigerian market, right? Because I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but kidnapping, things like that in the country is a prevalent and horrific problem. So it was a very interesting project for me to be a part of and to feel like I was helping to, contribute, give back in some way. Unfortunately, that project never quite took off, but it was still a good project for me to be a part of. In that, I got to become a little bit, teeny tiny bit familiar with Nigeria, which is part of the reason I was interested in talking with you today.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to these student groups, you're giving demos, but it sounds like maybe then there's some difficulty getting traction, right? Like you're giving these demos, it sounds like people maybe think they're like, okay, this is interesting, but then is there like then a challenge to people adopting it and using it?
Yes, actually. They think the system is not as intelligent as online resources, which they don't think they can actually rely on it, even though it's online, because of the intelligence is not to par with an AI that is online. Yeah, so the adoption is kind of a problem. We are going to deal with it. We are going to get traction. Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean like they're comparing it to ChatGPT and they're like, well, ChatGPT gives me better answers, so why would I use this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, and so what the as I was going through your website and just learning about Aurex, again, it looks like it's meant to be a platform that combines many elements together, right? So again, if we're talking about like business tools, right? So it could be a CRM, an ERP, can be used for like social media content and posting. And so if we're comparing directly, ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is good in, I can give it a question, I can give it a prompt, it'll give me an answer, but I can't use ChatGPT to be my CRM, for example, right? It's not a tool like that. And so are people maybe getting confused between like how they use ChatGPT versus how they use your tool?
Yeah. Yes. That's another problem, because ChatGPT is a single tool that it kind of do a lot of things. It do thinking, it's critical, it helps you in all those aspects. But in our we produce a product, we focus on one aspect alone, and we make sure we do our best in that aspect. I think that's exactly what a lot of people um refuse to see, because if we say this is our product, they expect it to do exactly what ChatGPT does online, and our product is offline. So I think the that that thinking that some AI that works offline will do exactly the same thing ChatGPT does. ChatGPT,
Right.
as I know it, on tool, and it has a very large model, and it's not front end only. But our AI mostly are front end only and does not have a large model. These are things that your browser can do. You can do within your browser, and we are not connected to any API or database. We are doing
Got
everything on
it.
the phone. That's an aspect a lot of people tend to overlook.
Got it. As you were talking, I had this idea demo that you could do, right? Like let's say you're in a room, you're presenting, you're showing your AI tool, and you've also got ChatGPT up, and you're asking someone, hey, come ask ChatGPT your question. And then you pull out the internet connection or you disconnect from the Wi-Fi and you're like, okay, please ask ChatGPT now what it thinks about this. And suddenly, again, that becomes very clear then as like, oh, right, that doesn't work when you're offline. But hey, our platform, which runs on the browser, it's still working. You could still use it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because yeah, I think anything, because I feel like the issue you're running into right now is people are trying to compare. They're like, well, your tool is an AI tool and ChatGPT is an AI tool, so we're going to compare them head to head. And you're trying to be like, no, no, these are completely different tools with completely different purposes. And so anything that you can do to kind of highlight, okay, but this is what we can do, right? We can build your CRM, we can build like workflow automations in your business, right? Like we can connect all these different apps together and we can do it offline. You know, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, like they're never going to be able to do these things. So again, let's stop comparing them like it's one or the other. We're in a completely different league of our own.
Yeah. I think I should focus on that aspect too, because when I'm presenting, I also do have this issue of not pointing that out very clearly, I think. So maybe I should focus on letting them know the difference. Maybe they'll stop comparing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. What else? Because again, as you know, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, right? Like our lives are nonstop problems, right? That's just the nature of the beast. And I think we tend to we're attracted to that problem solving nature. I'm just curious in terms of like the challenges that you've experienced either in building this technology or marketing it or getting people to use it, to adopt it. What have been some of the unexpected challenges that you've run into on this journey?
I think it's the fact that people question what I build with my age and my gender, and also the fact that I'm from the north. Yeah, it's really frustrating when I said, okay, this is what I do, but the moment I say I'm from northern Nigeria, they're like, no, no, and it becomes a problem immediately.
Really? Okay, so there's a strong bias there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something, and again, please excuse my ignorance here, but is that something where like if you're presenting this to people in northern Nigeria, like they don't have a problem with that, but if you're talking to somebody from like Lagos or Abuja, for example, they're like, nah, you're from the north. I'm not going to talk to you.
No, it's not like that. No, in the south, you have some people, particularly who don't care about the race, but the fact that you are from the north, there's a common tag put the northerners by southerners. They always call us abokis, and that was like an insult word, and they don't want anything to do with abokis, business or anything. They don't want anything to do with the northerners. And in the north, representing the north as a lady, as a female, there is one issue. You'll be ignored because you are a girl. Now, there is a problem, that stereotype that if you are a lady, you are made to stay at home and do the house rather than building an industry.
Right. Yeah,
As,
I understand.
so both ways, yeah. In this south, they don't care if you're a girl, but for the fact that you're from the north, and the north, they care that you're a girl and a man is supposed to be doing this and not you. You're supposed to be at home. So that's just like, yeah.
Got it. Well, look, I'm only one person here, but I'm saying this very genuinely, right? Like to me, the fact that you're 18 is actually very extremely impressive because I'm like, how has she done all, she's only 18. She started this 2 years ago when she was 16 and she's already accomplished all of this. Like I'm genuinely blown away and impressed. And I can see that you have a you have a very impressive future in front of you if you keep going at this, if you keep working at this, right? And so if I can offer you maybe a little bit of inspiration here as somebody that like I don't see your age as an issue. I don't see your gender as an issue. I don't see you being from northern Nigeria as an issue. And if I can share a little pearl of wisdom here, if I may, people will always search for the easiest excuse to dismiss you, right? And kind of what you're saying too, it's like if you're talking to somebody from the no, from the south, the problem is you're from the north. If you're talking to somebody in the north, the problem is you're a girl, right? People will always try to find what is that easiest thing that I can just dismiss this person that I don't take them seriously, right? And I think that's just part of life in general. Look, do you face that on a greater degree? Absolutely, right? I feel though that at the end of the day, what matters are results, right? It's like do you have a technology? Do you have a platform that legitimately changes people's lives, right? And my thought for you is like, could you focus on, look, there's always going to be a lot of people who will never take you seriously. Okay. Can you find the small subset of people who do take you seriously? For example, could you find other like for example, right? Instead of presenting this to men, right? What if you start presenting this just to groups of women, right? Would they maybe take you more seriously? And that with that little because I'm a big believer that success breeds success, right? Like we need momentum to move things forward, right? So if you have a few women in your circle who they start using this and start taking it seriously and they're excited about business, for example, right? And then they start sharing it with their friends and they get the word out and it kind of grows naturally from there. So it's more just a question I have for you is like, are there certain, groups or subset of people who would take you more seriously that like you could focus your attention on them?
Yeah, yeah. But the problem with them is they look at age and they be like, you're too young to be in this.
Yeah, again, age.
But
So like I said, people will find the easiest reason to dismiss you. Age is a
yeah,
funny one, and you'll see this as you go through life. When you're young, everybody says you're too young. And then you get a little bit older and people are like, you're old, you're finished. And so it doesn't matter what your age is. People will always find a reason to dismiss you, right? And so there's a part of it, and I know you have this in you that again, that fire inside of you, that entrepreneurial drive of just like, I know I'm a good person. I know what I'm building here is good and is going to help people. Okay, these people, they don't get it. They dismiss me. They laugh at me. They think I'm a joke. Great, cool. I'm going to ignore them. They're out of my life. They're out of my world. I'm going to focus on my attention on the people who do get it, who are interested, who are like, oh, I can see how this would be very, very useful,
right.
right? So what I'm trying to say is keep going, keep going. I'm genuinely impressed by everything that you've done here. You can say you got at least one person behind you who thinks what you're doing is cool.
Thank you.
What? Let's see. Where else? I know we got a couple. Don't mind me. I've got a little tickle in my throat here today. Okay, I'm trying to think of where else we can take this conversation. What else? I guess can you just in your words, can you just give us an overview of like what Aurex is, what it's used for, what it's good at, and who are the types of people who should be using it?
Okay. Ours, like I say, is just much more like an innovation lab where we bring ideas that solve everyday problems Africans deal with. Ours is a, I don't call it a company, I call it my own innovation lab, where we build ideas like offline solutions, CRM, all solutions that have the ability to work offline, and it is built mainly to serve Africans, people who have no to limited internet access to internet connection. Yeah. So the people who are
Hmm.
meant to use this are mostly students, business owners, and so on. Yeah.
That's that's okay. I think so. I'm like my background. I'm an engineer. I'm more of a technical person, right? Similar to you in a way, and I feel like I'm very good at getting in and writing the code and building the systems, and then somebody asks me, so like, what is this for? And who is it for? And how does it help people? And I'm like, it's cool. So again, don't stress about it. Again, we're just having a conversation on this. So students, business owners, so what would a student, let's just run through an example of like a student. What would they use it for, and like how would it enhance their
Okay.
life?
Okay. For example, we have this one of our AI, though it's not fully launched, but access some schools have access, which it's meant specifically to teach. Now, for example, in Nigeria, yeah, we know that internet connection is very, very expensive, you understand? And it's
Yeah.
not all students that have access to this internet connection. And when you go to school, the teachers don't actually have the time to focus on did you understand the subject or not. Physics, particularly when I was in school, I loved physics because my physics teacher was this kind of man. He was an engineer, and he always take me along. But along the way, I saw that many other students don't actually get what's happening there. So this
Hmm.
particular AI system we built, AI platform, it helps students to understand the physics, the concepts, everything they need to understand regarding physics. It explains it in layman language in a way they are going to understand it while offline. So they don't need the internet to access that kind of help.
Okay, so does that mean like it's also like an education platform?
Yeah, it's a lot combined in one because we face a lot.
Right, right. It includes everything in it. So can you just run us through like how is it an education platform? As in, like, do you have, like, are there courses, are there videos, or this allows people to like ask questions about physics? Like, how does that work as an education platform?
It does not have videos though, but when you have a question, for example, and probably mechanics, and you just come and like, I need you to explain this aspect of mechanics in physics, then this AI is going to pull out everything about it from the beginning, how to understand the mechanics, how to solve the equation, how to do everything step by step. At a point, it's going to explain it as if you are just 5 years old in a simple language that you are going to be able to understand it and able to accumulate whatsoever you are. You are.
Got it. Okay. So it might be, so in school, the teacher might say, okay, in physics today, we're going to be learning from, these whatever chapters of the textbook. We're going to be covering this subject. But then if a student is like, okay, I don't understand this and I need additional help, right? They can then take your tool, ask it questions about, okay, today we're learning about whatever magnets, or we're learning
Yeah,
about how, is light a particle or is it a wave, right? Take those questions to the AI to kind of ask it more in-depth questions, and then the AI is able to give again additional kind of like feedback, context, explain things, maybe give like examples that they can then walk through and solve. Like, is that how it works?
yeah, yes,
Got it. Okay. But again, the big advantage being that this works offline. So if during the day they're in school, but the internet goes out, or maybe the electricity goes out for a little bit, but there's a little bit of power on the and does it run on a phone? Does it run on a laptop? Does it run on any device?
runs on runs on all devices.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, somebody has a phone, that has some electricity to it, or the battery still has some juice, but the internet's gone out. They can pull it up and they can ask it questions. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's like a I want to say like a teacher assistant. It's a resource that students can use basically when all the other resources fail, this one's still available and accessible. Okay. And what about on the business side of things? Because again, I was looking at your website, right? You talk about it can be a CRM, it can post to social media, it can do like help with like automations and workflows. So if you're, I guess first question, right? Like business is a broad term. So do you have a specific like niche like within businesses or business owners that you would serve?
Not really. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, to help almost everyone in any way we could, because the idea was to help everyone who needs help, not just a particular set of people. Although we haven't actually go into the aspect of the business very much, because there are a lot of tools for business, but when it's business, as you said, it's a very broad term, and we have to look at what people actually want and they use our product if we build it. So right now we don't have any project for the business aspect. Yeah. Though we have one
okay,
in development, we haven't done it. It's like a plug and play. It's connect your business to um it, it's like Slack or Airtable. It's a lot combined in one, but it's in development though, so I can't say a lot about it right now, because we are looking at
cool.
the feasibility and every possible way to make it beyond limits.
Got it. Got it. I was smiling there because you mentioned Airtable. Airtable is my bread and butter. That's what I do. A software developer, and I work primarily in Airtable. So you made me smile a little bit. You're like, oh, you're speaking my language here. What? So your vision is that this is a tool for all of Africa. Like everybody in Africa, you're gonna find use in this tool. This is gonna help you get to the next level in your life. You don't really view it as, okay, this is for, business owners or like this is for everybody.
Yes, exactly.
A lofty and ambitious goal.
Like a lot of people say Africa is underdeveloped or Africa is emerging, but there's one thing I know. I know that Africa is not underdeveloped. Africa is a constantly revolving nation. So whatsoever you have to build has to be constantly revolving to keep up with the pace. And I think that's why a lot of resources do fail. And one thing about us, it's not just about taking everybody along, it's about revolving at the speed everybody else is revolving.
Yeah. Yeah, just moving at the moving at the same speed. Again, you're like we have the knowledge, we have the smarts, we have the intellect. We can do this. We can compete. We just need the kinds of tools that everybody else has and takes for granted. And, we just need to make sure that everybody here has those. Okay. So we're approaching about time here to wrap up today. I'm just curious, is there anything else that people need to know about you, to know about Oryx, like any kind of last thoughts here to share?
But me, that's not funny. I don't think there is. I don't think there's
No,
anything they need to know about me.
you've
Right?
you've said it
One thing,
all.
RS is a platform for everyone out there, and the idea is to be there for everybody and to go beyond limits, to take the intelligence beyond limits. I think that's all. The division started from wanting to go beyond borders, but now we want to go limits, and I think that's
Okay.
all.
Progress beyond limits. Okay. Okay. So for anybody who's considering, hiring you or using your platform, where can they find you? How do they sign up?
We are not considering that right now.
Okay, so you're not available for
Not right now. Not
oh,
current.
still Still in development. Do you have a launch date of when you're going live?
Hopefully 2026.
2026. Well, that's coming up in a month. That's coming up soon.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be
Do
like,
you have sorry, go ahead.
I can hear you.
I was gonna say, do you have like a website or a social media platform or LinkedIn? Like if people want to find out more about you, where can they find you?
I have a LinkedIn profile. I do have a LinkedIn profile, and Aurex also have a website, and Aurex has a LinkedIn profile and also a Twitter profile. That's already are calling right.
Okay. So your website RX and if
No,
people
it's
want to find you
Aurex dot
one more time, rx.name.
name dot ng.
Okay. And if people want to find on LinkedIn, it's Sadiya Garba Aliyu. Is that right?
Aliyu. You got
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, Sadiya, it has been a pleasure having you on today. And I mean that genuinely. You've been a lot of fun to talk with. And again, I can tell you've got a lot of energy in you. You see a big vision of what you want to accomplish in the world, that you want to make your mark in the world. And I know you're experiencing challenges on the way, but I feel you've got that fire inside of you that you're gonna overcome it, you're gonna keep pushing, and you're gonna
Thank
find
you.
your way.
Thank you.
Well,
It's been great.
it's been a pleasure having you on here, and I look forward to hearing more about your journey.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.